So more information coming out after the Senior Bowl. We've got more mock drafts. So we'll obviously, ramp up with our Lions coverage and the mock drafts. As Brad Holmes said earlier this week, the Rams, we know they're getting ready for a Super Bowl, and we're here getting ready for the Senior Bowl. So there's a lot going on, and hopefully one day soon, the Lions are in that spot. But Braylon Edwards, there are two mock drafts that I want to give you a sense of what's happening. Which one do you want first, the CBS or the ESPN?
Let's go CBS.
CBS has a stunner.
Okay.
A stunner, I tell you.
Stone cold.
Coming up, the number one player in the draft will be selected by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who do you think they're going to take? Aidan Hutchinson?
No.
Kayvon Thibodeau?
Nope.
Evan O'Neal? Or Evan Neal?
Nope.
Nope. They are taking Ikem Ekwonu.
What?
From NC State. The offensive tackle from NC State.
Wow.
So they are saying that he is just too good to pass up. The safest pick, and they need to get a left tackle. So there he is, Ekwonu,
right,
from NC State.
Left tackle from NC State. And we talked about this. Having those top first 3 or so picks in this draft, a draft where they've already said, there's no game changers, there's no, which is a fair term, which is an unfair term, but I get what they mean. They mean there's not going to be anybody that grades out to a 93, a 94, a 95, a 92. So now you got to find what works for you best. Is it trading your pick? Is it finding a pick within the picks like that? This is a steal they found. They watched the Senior Bowl, they watched the bowl game, they've gone back and they've done some homework, they watched some more film on this left tackle, and they decided this is the guy for us. This is what we need. We don't need to trade our pick. We're not going to be able to get what we want for that pick. We got to protect Trevor Lawrence. Let's go ahead and get this left tackle. Let's make this our guy. Let's go with it as our guy. And I think they're making a smart move. Don't be forced into a pick. Just because Braylon Edwards and Ryan Ermanni say, hey, you got to take Kayvon Thibodeau because you have to take Aidan Hutchinson. Don't be forced into a pick. Take time. Take a step back. Do some more research, watch some more film, ask your quarterback, hey, Trevor, when you see this guy on film, what jumps out at you? And if this is what you guys have done, it's great. It's a great opportunity.
What's interesting about that pick, too, in this CBS has the Lions selecting Aidan Hutchinson, number 2 overall. And then at number 3, Houston Texans selecting Evan Neal. Kayvon Thibodeau going 4 to the Jets. One thing about this is apparently, the Jets want an offensive lineman. They're desperate for one of these 2 offensive tackles. So one of the things that it signals to me is, could the Lions maybe find a draft trade partner in the Jets and move back a couple of spots and maybe accumulate a pick if the Jets are absolutely just positive that they need one of those. They need to get to the number 2 spot to make sure that they get one of those 2 offensive tackles at the top of the draft. It's a potential trade partner that you could see there. The first quarterback going off the board in this CBS mock draft is Malik Willis. I want to get to that in a second.
So crazy that the Jets need an offensive lineman. I remember when I was there a couple of years. I mean, obviously, I guess it was longer than a couple of years ago. They had Alan Faneca, the Brickishaw Ferguson. You had
Virginia Tech.
Exactly. You had Virginia. Then you had from Ohio State. Why can't I think of his name right now? He annoys the hell out of me.
Mangold?
All we do is argue on Twitter.
Mangold?
Nick Mangold.
Yep.
You had Nick Mangold. Like, you had Damian Woody. Damian Woody plays sometime. Like, man, that was a great offensive
Solid
line.
offensive line. In ESPN, so again, just a couple of themes here. ESPN has the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Evan Neal at number 1. So again, both CBS
tackles,
and ESPN, regardless of the player, they have them taking an offensive tackle. So that would mean the Lions would have their choice between edge rushers, Kayvon Thibodeau and Aidan Hutchinson, if that's the case. CBS says Aidan Hutchinson, ESPN says Kayvon Thibodeau. So there's just still so much more to be decided. In this ESPN mock draft, they have Malik Willis going number 6
Oh, wow.
to the Carolina Panthers. Malik Willis going number 11 to the Washington Redskins. Washington
Commanders.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
It happens.
Washington Commanders at number 11. Now, this quarterback thing is totally intriguing to me, okay? Because if you think back to the draft when Patrick Mahomes was drafted,
right?
Do you remember some clamoring that teams had to get Patrick Mahomes?
No, I mean the Chiefs moved up to get him, but they didn't move up super far. I mean, I think practice was drafted 11? 12?
I think 10.
10, yeah.
So he was, but still, like,
no,
they were really
kind of like
the outliers, right? I mean, that was Mitchell Trubisky and the Chicago Bears.
Moved up.
Yeah, the Bears moved up to get Mitchell Trubisky that year. Can you imagine Patrick Mahomes in a Bears uniform? Oh my God, please.
Lamar Jackson sitting at 32.
Do you remember? Because I do, and I don't remember any talk about Justin Herbert.
Outside of Brian Flores, no. That's the only time I heard about is Brian Flores.
Justin Herbert. I mean, honestly, it was Tua, and more Tua. Nobody was talking about Justin Herbert. Yeah. Maybe as like a third or fourth best quarterback option. He's an Oregon guy. These Oregon guys don't work. Joey Harrington, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is just because these guys, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell, aren't, oh my God, these are Trevor Lawrence can't miss players. I mean, even Lamar Jackson, honestly, for as good as he was in college, I mean, where's he going to get taken? And I think he was in the 20s, Lamar Jackson. 32 to the Baltimore Ravens. So I guess what I'm trying to say is just because we don't fawn and glow over these quarterbacks doesn't mean there's not potentially a franchise-altering quarterback in this draft.
Hey, that's true. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's just us coming up with, it's not one in there. I think it's us watching games. You watch Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett. It was awful. It wasn't a good-looking game. I watched Sam Howell this year. Sam Howell struggled this year. He did not look the same. Now, granted, his two starting wide receivers and starting running backs both went to the NFL, but I still didn't see enough that warranted this guy being a franchise quarterback and this guy being number one pick. Kenny Pickett came on strong at the end of the year. If anybody could have been a first-round quarterback, I thought Kenny Pickett would be one later on in the rounds, maybe somewhere 18 to 32. Thought he looked like he was good there. Matt Corral, he did this all year. He did that all year, even in the bowl game. So for me, I just didn't see it there, and I still haven't seen it. Maybe I didn't pay enough attention to the Senior Bowl and really dive into watching Malik Willis. But I think sometimes when the talent isn't there, people start to move up a little bit. People starting to go back and see things like, well, maybe this guy's a little bit better. Is that guy better because you did research and you found out that guy is better, or is that guy better because there's no one there? Now you're making these players seem to be a little more shiny and to be better players. I don't know.
Malik Willis was the clear winner of last week.
Yeah, 100%.
Clear winner. I mean, he went from the third best quarterback coming into the year to a quarterback that was going to be the fifth best quarterback. And now, in this last week, he is the clear-cut number one quarterback of this draft, seemingly right now.
But that goes back to this. The average time that wins the 100 at the Olympics is going to be somewhere between 9.97 and 9.85. That's going to be the average time that wins. If 1 year nobody's fast and you win the 100, you beat everybody else, but you run a 10 flat. Like, did you really run a good race, or did you happen to be the best of a bad situation?
And that's a question that so many people are responsible to answer, right? I mean Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and those guys. Now I know Malik Willis. I don't believe Malik Willis was on Dan Campbell's squad.
No, he was on
this year. He was on the other side. But still, you all have the same opportunity to find that. For the Lions, you really have to decide, and I think you really have to decide this quickly.
Yeah,
is drafting a quarterback in the first round, is that going to help you get good quickly? Because if it's not, if you believe that Jared Goff is your quarterback for 2022, and then you can kind of just keep revisiting, because you're not going to have an opportunity to pick one of those high-caliber guys next year. You're just not. Unless unless you do something where you trade your entire draft up. Yeah, because I think you legitimately could and should win 6, 7, 8 games next year. You know?
I agree. I don't think you'll win. I don't think you'll be picking as high next year in that draft. But I just don't see that quarterback there. I don't see a forced quarterback there to draft unless Kenny Pickett falls to you in the second round or something like that.
Where you can't pass it
Exactly, where you can't pass up on it. Like, I'm still of the mind, hey, you know what? You guys believe in Jared Goff enough. Shoot, try that out for another year. See how that works. You saw how toward the last 7 games of the season, well, I guess he played 6 in the second half of the season when he wasn't injured. That looked a little bit better. It was a quick snapshot, looked a little bit better towards the end of December. You know, maybe see how that works out. Maybe pick up a backup quarterback. Maybe go out there and get a Marcus Mariota. I don't know. And have somebody on the bench. Maybe I would prefer that route. Getting a strong backup quarterback, putting him in play, and then see if the Jared Goff thing doesn't work for one more year.
Well, that's what Brett Holmes said too, Braylon, right? I mean, he said we've got to create competition.
Yeah.
I mean, Jared Goff played really well towards the end of the season, but we need him to play even better than that.
You've reached the end of the video. You know what you should do? Press like. You know you like the content that we have here at Woodward Sports Network. I'm Braylon Edwards from the bottom line. Subscribe to us right now.